Ubersaga.
Hey there, everyone, and welcome to Behind the Mic. So, this is a special limited series from Sound of a Startup by us, Ubersaga. I'm Ben, and in this episode, we're diving into all the essentials that you need to know before you hit that record button and start your own podcast. So, grab a cup of coffee. I'm a tea guy personally, so I've got my tea. Sit back, and let's get this show on the road. So, have you noticed how podcasts have taken the world by storm? It's actually very, very interesting. It's now incredible how this medium has grown in popularity over the years. People from every walk of life are tuning in, whether they're stuck in traffic, tackling household chores, or simply looking to relax and unwind. And you know what? You don't need a fancy, expensive setup to create a world-class show. So let's bust that myth right here, right now. Here's the thing. When it comes to creating a compelling podcast, it's not about the equipment you have, but rather the stories you tell and the connections you make with your audience. Sure, having the top-of-the-line gear can enhance your audio quality, but let's focus on what really matters. Your passion for sharing knowledge and stories. Now, that's what captivates listeners. Now, let me drop a little gem on that for you. Have you heard of Adobe Podcast Vocal Enhancer? It's like magic in a digital box. This fantastic tool can improve the clarity and quality of your recordings without the need for expensive microphones or soundproof studios. And I can prove it to you because I'm not sitting in a studio while recording this. And the best part? It's free. We use it regularly on all our podcasts and it's a game changer. Trust me. All right. Let's shift gears and talk about the visual elements of your podcast. Now, even though this is an audio medium, your podcast name and cover art are the first touch points for potential listeners. It's like love at first sight, but for your show. So let's make the most of this space and set the tone right from the start. Think of your podcast cover art as a window into the soul of your show. It's an opportunity to catch the eye of your target audience and give them a taste of what they can expect. Get creative with colors, fonts, and imagery that align with your podcast theme and overall vibe. But remember, it should be visually appealing and easily recognizable, even when it's shown in tiny sizes on podcast directories. And hey, branding matters too. Design a logo or a visual element that represents your show and use it consistently across your podcast website, social media profiles, and promotional material. This creates a cohesive and recognizable brand identity that makes you stand out in the podcast crowd. Oh, and let's not forget about naming your show right. Your podcast name should be catchy, memorable, and give a sneak peek into the incredible content you'll be sharing. Take some time to brainstorm creative names that resonate with your target audience and pique their curiosity. After all, a great name can work wonders in attracting new listeners. And before we wrap up, here's a pro tip for you. Give yourself some breathing room before publishing your first episode. Platforms like Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts can take up to a week to approve and list your show. So why not set up a trailer? It's like a teaser of what's to come and helps build anticipation. Use this time to generate excitement and get people talking about your podcast. I think we've covered quite a lot in this episode. We've talked about the growing popularity of podcasts, how you don't need fancy equipment to create an outstanding show, the importance of designing visual elements, setting up an intriguing trailer, and choosing a killer podcast name. So in our next episode, we'll dive deeper into the world of equipment and recording. We'll also explore some budget-friendly options for microphones, software, and soundproofing techniques that will make your podcast sound top-notch without breaking the bank. Trust me, it's easier than you think. That's it for today's episode of Behind the Mic. This is a special limited series from Sound of a Startup by Ubersaga. I hope you found these insights helpful. And remember, building a podcast is all about sharing your unique voice with the world. We're here to support you every step of the way, my friends. If you enjoyed this episode and want more podcasting goodness, make sure to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast platform. And hey, I'll catch you next week with more valuable tips and tricks to help you rock the podcast game. Until then, take care and keep on shining. Ciao.